My name is Angel. Welcome back to my channel. I literally almost just fell asleep for absolutely no reason. So what am I doing? I'm gonna start a reading challenge. Basically, I was looking at my spreadsheet where I log all of the books that I read, page count, what month I read them, etc., etc. And I have only read 6 books in August. I'm working on number 7 right now. But compared to my other months, I read like 15 to 20 or so books in a month typically. So it is August 21st and I've only read 6 books. Now, a lot of that is because I did move at the beginning of this month. I moved from Colorado to Florida, so I was busy and just it was a hectic time, so I didn't have as much time for reading as I normally do. But now I am settling into things, settling into my new job and my new apartment. So now I have more time for reading, and I really want to just try to squeeze in as many books as I can before the month ends, because 6 books for me personally is just like not enough. So I've seen this trend all over booktube for years, I swear. It's not anything new or crazy, but that is basically reading 200 pages every single day. So I actually don't know how many pages I read in a day on average. There are some days where I can read an entire 400-page book, and there are some days where I read 20 pages in a day. So I'm gonna do the 200 pages in a day challenge, try to read as much as I can, and see how many books I can squeeze in before the end of the month. So we're just going to be doing this vlog for a week. So today is Monday, August 21st. So I will stop on Sunday. So that gives me 7 days, reading at least 200 pages a day. How many books can I get through? So while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about what I'm reading right now. I am currently reading The Broken Places. This is a debut horror book, and it's basically about this guy and his 2 friends, and they go to his family's cabin that is in this like very small town, but it's very isolated and in a heavily like forested area. It's wintertime, and the animals start acting very strange while they're there. So I was reading some of this last night. I got about 60% through, so I'm on page 144. Things were picking up, things were getting spooky. I have just a little less than 100 pages left in this book, so I'm gonna go ahead and read that, finish it, let you guys know my thoughts, and then we're gonna start something new and figure out how many pages of that next book I have to read today. Hello. I am back. I have finished The Broken Places. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I'll just talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to do like a full review or anything. So The Broken Places is a folk horror, and it is about this guy named Ryan. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's spelled R-Y-N-E. And his family has this cabin in this very small town that he used to go to a lot as a kid with his father and his uncle. So after the recent passing of both his father and his uncle, he goes back to this cabin with his 2 friends, Sean and Noah, and they're just gonna spend some time up there strengthening their friendship and just being there for Ryan as he's just lost 2 family members. They plan to hunt in the woods that surround the cabin and just hang out. It's winter time, there's a storm coming. However, when they get to the town and they get to the cabin, very weird things start to happen, specifically with the animals, like the deer in the woods. So it was a very interesting story. I would definitely recommend it to people who are fans of folk horror. There was some body horror in there as well, horror involving animals. Also, if you are a fan of that type of setting where it's like wintertime, snowy, kind of blizzard conditions in an isolated cabin in the woods, small town, like very small village up there. If you're a fan of any of that stuff, I would definitely recommend. I thought it was a pretty good book. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. but that brings my page count for today up to 96. So I have to start something else and read 104 pages at the very least of that. So I have 2 books on Libby. My holds came in. So the first one is Girls Like Girls by Haley Kiyoko, which we all know was an iconic moment. That music video, iconic, and still holds a very special place in my heart. So I was stoked to hear that she was writing a book about it. So I'm very, very excited to start that one. But I also have a Libby hold that came in on Nothing to See Here, which I don't really know much about that one. I heard it's about like kids that just spontaneously like catch on fire or something or explode. I don't know. So those are my 2 options for my next book. I'm not sure which one I'm really in the mood for right now. I'm gonna shower and relax a little bit and then figure out what I want to read and read that, and I will come back and let you guys know what I have decided. Hello, it is a little while later. I decided to start Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. I am just about 40 pages through and I'm really, really enjoying it so far. It's just a very fun, unusual story, but the writing style as well is just so good, and it's just so easy to just be captivated by it, I feel like, and just be fully immersed. That's the word I'm looking for. Fully immersed in the book because of the way that it's written. The main character as well is just very funny, very like socially awkward, and I'm just really thoroughly enjoying it right now. So I'm going to keep reading for tonight until I reach the goal of 200 pages. Well, 200 pages total. So in this book, I have to get to at least page 104. So I've got some time to read before bed. I've got like an hour to read. So I'm going to do that. And I probably won't see you guys until tomorrow. But yeah, things are going well so far. Hello, I just got home from work, so don't criticize me too hard. Anyways, as you guys saw, I read 107 pages of Nothing to See Here last night, which brought my total for yesterday to 203 pages. Then today on break, I was able to read just about 50 pages. So I am gonna read some more tonight, but let's talk about the book. It is going very, very well so far. I love that as soon as I sit down and start filming, the AC kicks on, so I'm sorry if there's a lot of background noise. I do apologize. Basically in the book so far, we have been introduced to our main character, whose name I can't remember. Why can I never remember anybody's names? I remember the side character's name, Madison, her friend, but what the heck is her name? I don't know. Anyways, Madison, who is her best friend from school, calls her up and is like, well, doesn't call her up, she writes her a letter and she says, I have this job for you, like come to my house. So she goes, has no clue what the job is, and she finds out she's basically going to be a nanny for these 2 children. However, the children spontaneously catch on fire when they get too upset or too angry. So it's a little bit of a silly story, but it's actually like a lot deeper than I thought it was gonna be. You can tell, I feel like it's gonna be a little bit of like a heartwarming, kind of sentimental, like sweet story at the end. I feel like there's gonna be some moral or some lesson to be learned as we see her relationship with these children and the bond that they already have. As if there wasn't enough noise in here already, now the cat's kicking around in the litter box. Anyway, she has such a sweet bond with the children already. I am still loving the writing style. Like, I'm fully immersed in the book when I read it, which is fantastic. I think it's definitely gonna get a high rating. It might even be a 5-star for me. I also really love the main character's personality. Like, she is just so awkward, but like relatably, like socially awkward. Like somebody will say, oh wow, you did such a great job, and she goes, oh okay. Like, she just doesn't know how to respond to anything. Even with the children, she's so awkward. Like, just a little while ago in the book, they were playing basketball or something, and she was like, oh, I love to play basketball because it like makes me happy and makes me not want to kill anybody. And the kids are like, you want to kill people? And she goes, oh shit, I forgot I was talking to kids. I don't know, it's just, she's just got such a funny personality, but it not only is it like a silly and lighthearted story, but it's also got some deeper elements. And like I said, I think there's going to be a lesson to be learned about the story. So I'm very, very much enjoying it. Hello? Hello? I also got some book mail today. I got the book The Most Precious Substance by Sarah Gran, which is one of my top reads for the year. And I found out today that Foe by Ian Reid is being adapted into a movie with Saoirse Ronan, so I'm very excited for that. Hello, I have finished Nothing to See Here, and I am gonna give it 5 stars. It's kind of funny because like I feel like there's really not a lot to this book. Like there was character depth and like emotional development, but like plot wise it wasn't anything crazy. It was just kind of a silly story that was also kind of heartwarming. So I can't even fully tell you why I'm giving it 5 stars, but I think a lot of it just comes down to how much I enjoyed the writing and just the reading experience. Like I said, I was fully immersed in the story, which doesn't always happen for me. Sometimes, like even if I am enjoying a book, I'll be reading it and constantly stopping to do something else or thinking about other things. But with this book, it wasn't like that. Like I just was reading for long periods of time because I was just really, really enjoying it. So I think that really is what kind of makes it for me and is going to make it a 5 star. I would highly, highly recommend Nothing to See Here. I think if you like kind of silly, light, fun stories like that, like a magical realism vibe, I would definitely recommend it. And if you've read this one and enjoy it, a book that I would recommend to you is, I think it's called The Boy with a Bird in His Chest or something like that. I'll put up the picture. That one is kind of the same vibe where it's like magical realism because it's like a coming of age story about this boy that's just was born with a bird in his chest and it's just there and it's totally normal for him and for his world. I feel like it's very similar to this book where the kids just catch on fire and that's just normal to them and it can't be explained. So everything that I read today so far has been 150 pages. So I've got 50 more pages to reach my goal. So I'm gonna start Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko and get at least 50 pages into that before I go to bed. I have no clue where my tripod is, so you're just gonna have to deal with me holding this. Anyways, I'm gonna start Girls Like Girls. I literally have no clue what the plot is. I don't know if it's supposed to be like the characters from the music video or if it's just a story that goes with the song or something. So let's read the description together. Okay, so it does say it's a coming of age romance based on her hit song and viral video. It is summertime and 17-year-old Coley has found herself alone again, forced to move to rural Oregon after just losing her mother. She's in no position to risk her already fragile heart, but when she meets Sonia, the attraction is immediate. Coley worries she isn't worthy of love. Up until now, everyone she's loved has left her, and Sonia's never been with a girl before. What if she's too afraid to show up for Coley? What if by opening her heart, Coley's risking it all? They both realize that when things are pushed down and feelings are forced to shrivel away, Coley and Sonia will be the ones to shrink. Based on the Billboard charting smash hit song and viral music video Girls Like Girls. Hayley Kiyoko's debut novel is about embracing your truth and realizing we are all worthy of being loved back. Interesting. So it is YA, which I did think that it was. Oh no. Why is the first review I see is 2 stars? 2 other people that I follow on Goodreads give it 3.5 stars. So I hope it's good because that music video just holds a special place in my heart. Hello, I have relocated to be in a more comfy spot to read. I am 35 pages through Girls Like Girls and I know it's early, but I'm not loving it. So here's the thing. I don't want to criticize anybody's writing. Haley Kiyoko, like, this is the first book she's ever written. She has a musical career, so it's not like she's a professional author by any means. And I also, like, it's probably better than anything I could ever write. But the writing style, it just feels like very amateur to me. But like I said, like, that's to be expected because this is a debut from Haley Kiyoko. She's never written a book before. And it's also YA, so I'm trying not to criticize it too much. But some of the dialogue and just the way that it's written is so cheesy and just, I'm not loving it. Also, everything seems to be happening like very quickly. We get introduced to the main character, Coley. She's just moved into this place with her father, who she's never really lived with before. She calls him Curtis. Her mother is dead, and it's not explicitly said, but it seems like her mother commits suicide. Basically, she gets there, she doesn't know anybody, she gets on her bike and goes and rides around town, and she like runs into this group of kids there, and they invite her to the lake, and then she meets this other girl, Sonia, and it was like very not insta love, but like she was like, oh, I could hear her voice and I could tell that it was her, and just all of these things that it was like insta attraction and like insta infatuation, and it doesn't really make sense to me, especially if the character is supposed to be somebody who is still coming to terms like with her sexuality and with liking girls. I feel like it wouldn't be so like instantly obsessed with this girl. It would be more like, oh my god, like, why do I feel this way, etc. I don't know, just right now it's just not giving. But I'm gonna go ahead and read my 50 pages. So I'm on page 35, so it's like 15 more pages. Yeah, 15 more pages for tonight, and then I probably will update you guys in the morning. We'll see. I'm not loving this book so far, and I don't think that it's going to be a book that I really enjoy, but I'm going to try my best to read as much of it as possible. Like, I don't want to DNF it, but if it gets really bad later on, then we'll see. I just really hope that there's more development with the friendship between the girls before it becomes so much like a romantic thing. And I also hope that we get to know more of Coley as a person, because like I said, she got introduced to the main love interest so quickly in this book. Like, we got like 3 pages to just get her thoughts. Another thing too is like the narration is very much like angsty teenager, which I can't argue too much against because it is a YA book. We've all been there, but it just feels not well written. Like, I don't know, it just feels a little bit ridiculous and a little bit, not cringe, but just like, I don't know. I'm just not vibing with it, and I know I'm not the right age group, but I still feel like a lot of times when I read YA, I can still relate to the characters, and you know, I was that age. I was in high school at one point. Like, I know what it's like to be an angsty teenage girl, but this just doesn't feel real to me the way that this book is written. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading, and I will see y'all tomorrow at some point. Molly says, hi everybody. You're so cute. Anyway, I am back because I didn't have to work till later this morning, so I read a bit before work, and then I also read on my break at work, and I ended up somehow reading exactly 150 pages. That's why I love YA stuff, is because it's like so easy to get through, and it doesn't take a lot of brain power, and I can just read it so quickly. The main thing I want to say about the book so far is that although I'm not loving it still, it's definitely gotten better than what my first impressions of it were last night, we are now more focusing on the friendship between the girls and just like this group of friends, which is really, really nice. However, my main issue at this point, aside from the writing, is just that Coley and Sonia have like no chemistry. And like I said, it was very much like this insta type of infatuation with each other. And I just really, really wish that it had focused like on their friendship first, and then slowly maybe they started to get feelings for each other. Also, I'm not really loving like the only point of view we get is from Coley's point of view. We don't get Sonia's point of view at all. However, we get to read like these little journal entries that she writes, but the way she talks in those journal entries and the way she acts in the story are just like complete opposite. Like, I just have a hard time understanding why she acts the way she does, what her motivation for certain things are, because there are things that have happened that she's just been honestly kind of rude to Coley, but then we'll like write this journal entry where she's like, oh my god, like, I love her, whatever, and I'm like, but like, your actions are not showing that. I don't know. I'm just not a very big Sonya fan right now, and I just feel like they don't have chemistry. I feel like Coley deserves somebody better. I still don't think I'm gonna love it very much or rate it very, very highly, but I am gonna finish reading it. So I have 50 pages to meet my goal for today, but after that, the book is only like 50 more pages from that, so I think I'm just gonna finish the whole book, read 100 more pages tonight, and then I'll let you guys know my final thoughts, my rating, whatever. Hello, I am back. It's been a couple of hours, but I finished Girls Like Girls. I don't really have much else to say that I haven't already said. I think I'm gonna give it 2 or 2.5 stars. It really, there were so many points that like just didn't make sense, because the characters would be like, I hate you, and then they'd be like, I love you, and I'm like, that paired with the fact that I didn't think they had any chemistry to begin with, it just like, I don't understand any of this. I don't know, I don't think they were right together. I think that Coley could have found somebody better, and I wasn't rooting for the couple, so how am I gonna really enjoy a book that's supposed to be a romance if I don't like the couple together? Anyway, that brings my total for today to 250 pages. I'm going to choose my next read now, so I'll take you upstairs. We can talk about some of the books that I'm thinking about reading, because I really want to read a physical book, but I also just got approved for an ARC on NetGalley, A Silent Key by Laurel Hightower, so I'm like, should I read that one? But I don't know, I just want to read a physical book. Wow, the lighting is really not it in here. Anyways, here we are by my TBR shelves. So some of the physical books that I kind of feel like reading right now are Choke, but I don't know if I'm ready to read a book by that author. Recursion, I'm very, very excited to read, but am I in the mood for sci-fi? I don't know. I also really, really want to pick up The Only One Left, because I've heard just so many good reviews about it. So I'm like, do I read one of these physical books? Do I read my NetGalley ARC? What do I do here? Okay, well, I think I'm gonna pick up The Only One Left. A thriller sounds nice right now, and to be honest, I am just obsessed with this cover. Like, it's so pretty, and I want to hold it. Hello, you guessed it. It is now the next day. I didn't read as much on my break today. I read 36 pages of The Only One Left. So I'll talk about it a little bit before I go and read to my 200-page goal. If you don't know what this book is about, basically we're following this woman who is a caregiver. So she goes to people's homes and takes care of them, typically older people. So she gets assigned to this woman who is sort of like a local legend, because basically back in the day, all of her family died and she was the only one that was left alive. So naturally, people assume that she did it and that she murdered her whole family. However, there was never any evidence to actually convict her, so she's just been living up in this mansion, away from the town and away from everybody. So now our main character is assigned to her, and we're getting to the part where she's just arrived at the house and has met like the housekeeper and the grounds person and some of the other staff that are there, and now she's getting ready to meet this lady that she's going to be taking care of. We don't know too much other than that at this point in the story, except that the nurse that was taking care of this woman before like suddenly left after just about a year and didn't explain to anybody why she left, just in the middle of the night just walked out. So I'm very curious to see what that's about. I'm starting to theorize already. I've seen a lot of people compare this to specifically Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, so I'm excited for that, and I think it's gonna be one that has like a whole bunch of different twists and different reveals happening, which is something that I really love. So I don't know, I have a really good feeling about this one. So with all that being said, I'm gonna read till at least page 200, which is actually really nice because page 200 lands right on a chapter break. So this chunk right here is 200 pages. This is where I'm gonna read to at the very least before I talk to you guys again. Well, not before I talk to you guys again, but like before I finish reading for the night. I don't think that even made sense. I mean, you've been watching this for how long? You know what the challenge is. We're reading 200 pages a day. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Hello. I read my 200 pages of The Only One Left last night and then pretty much went to bed straight after because it was bedtime, so I didn't update you guys. So I read those 200 pages last night, and on my break I read 40 pages, so I'm now on page 240 of The Only One Left. I really am enjoying it so far. I don't know, just the story is interesting. I feel like everything is unfolding at a very steady and just good pace, I guess. There have been a few reveals that have kind of caught me off guard. I didn't really see them coming. There are children outside. Anyways, there's been a few reveals that have caught me off guard, things that I was not expecting. And like I said, it's just unfolding like at a very good pace. I also absolutely love like the atmosphere that this book is set in. Not only is it set in the 80s, but like we're in this big mansion on the cliffs by the ocean, and it's kind of creepy and it's got like a dark history. I think that is something that Riley Sager definitely is good at, is like describing the atmosphere of things. And I can definitely understand why people compare this to Lock Every Door specifically by him, because it does have to do with this big building that's got a lot of history and a lot of dark history. So I get to finish this tonight. It is 300, and last time I looked at the page count, it kind of spoiled something for me. So 383 pages. So that means that I get to finish this tonight, and then I have to read like 20 pages of something else. So we'll see what I decide to pick up after. But I'm so freaking excited to finish this book, and I love that. I love that feeling when you're just so into the story and just like the vibe that you just can't wait to finish it and you just want to keep reading. So I would say that it is going very well so far. So I'm gonna keep reading, let you guys know my final thoughts. Maybe I'll update you before then, who knows. Then we'll figure out what else I decide to read tonight in order to reach my 200 page goal. I just got to page 302 and I feel like some shit is about to go down. Like I feel like we're about to get answers, and I still have like a million theories. So I hope I'm like partly right. I think one of my theories is correct. Okay. Okay. So, one of my theories was correct. I need to pause and think about this for a second. Okay, I literally read 2 sentences on the next page and now I'm shocked again. That I did not see coming. Hello. I have finished The Only One Left. Oh my god, this chair. The chair just started slowly rotating. I finished The Only One Left, and I did not think I'd be saying this, but I'm giving this book 5 stars. It was so good. First of all, I know I've said it already, but the cover, I'm obsessed. I hope that Riley Sager keeps like this style of covers for his future books because it's gorgeous. Anyway, oh my gosh. There were a few things that I guessed, but there was so much that took me totally off guard. Like, I got whiplash, I swear. The end of this book was kind of like one reveal right after the other, which I do really enjoy in thrillers as long as it's not like ridiculously silly. But it kind of reminded me of like The Last Word by Taylor Adams, where it was just kind of like one thing after the other getting exposed at the end, and it was just all kind of crazy. I gasped out loud a couple times. I was like talking to myself, like I had to pause a couple of times just to think about what the heck was going on in my head. This book was absolutely fantastic, and I'm so glad that I picked it up because originally I was not going to, but I decided to give it a chance, and I'm so glad, and I'm so glad that I decided to buy it as well, and I'm really happy that I get to own this now because I thoroughly enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to. So if you have been on the fence about reading this one, take my word for it, I think you should read it. So I read total today 183 pages from this book, which means I have 17 pages that I have to read. So I'm just gonna start Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. This is a pretty short book. It's 287 pages. Actually, that's a lie. It's 293 pages. But I don't know what this is about. I guess it's about a guy who scams people by pretending to choke on pieces of food while dining in upscale restaurants. He then allows himself to be saved by fellow patrons who, feeling responsible for his life, go on to send checks to support him. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I never know what to expect when going into Chuck Palahniuk's books. Like, you can't really set an expectation when you go into his books because they're all just freaking wild. So I hope I really enjoy this one. Hello. It is now Sunday, our last day for the challenge. I didn't update yesterday. I don't know, I just forgot and I was really tired. So I read my 20 pages of Choke the night before, and then I read my 200 pages yesterday. So I got to page 220. Originally my plan was, what I thought was going to happen was I was going to finish the book yesterday, and obviously that did not happen. So this book is 293 pages, which means I've got like a little over 70 to read today in order to finish this, and then I will start something else. And yeah, as far as Choke goes, I am enjoying it, but if you asked me to explain the plot of this book, I couldn't tell you. We're following this guy, Victor, who does the whole choking thing where he goes to like these fancy restaurants and he pretends that he's choking, and then these people save him, and then he'll write them like a thank you letter and be like, oh, thanks so much, like, by the way, I'm having this health problem, could you spare any money? And then like that's basically like what he does to get money. Then he also has a mother who is in like a nursing home and is not doing well, so that's like a whole other side plot. He also has this friend named Denny who lives with him and is like bringing home rocks every day, and their house is just like filling up with rocks. Then he also has this other like side job type of thing where he like goes to this like historical village type of place, and he has to play like a, I don't know, a guy from like the 1700s, and then people will come there as like a tourist attraction to see like what life was like back then, and if they like these actors or the characters or whatever do anything that's not like of that time period, like they get penalized for it. Like for example, if they wear like a wristwatch to work or they speak like out of character and not of that time period, they can get like penalized for it with their job and like get fired. And I don't know, it's just like there's so many different things happening in this book, but you're mainly following this guy Victor, but it's not like, it's kind of just vibes. Like there's not really a plot, like it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, like nothing crazy is gonna happen, there's not gonna be an epiphany at the end. Like the main character is not a good person, not a likable person, and he knows that, we know that, and that's just kind of like what it is. It's not like he's gonna have like a redemption arc and he's gonna be like a good person by the end of the book. Like it's not that at all. But there's also been some like very interesting topics in here as well. Like this whole thing with him like choking, it's because like one time when he was a kid, he choked, and then his mother like did the Heimlich, and all these strangers in this restaurant were like saying, you know, very kind things to him and just like giving him hugs and all this stuff. And so he was like, you know, that's the way to feel loved, is to just like almost die, and then people will love you. And so that's why he keeps doing it, is because he's got like this deep rooted issue. I don't know, it's just interesting. Like I said, I can't I can't tell you what the plot is. I can't tell you why I like it, but I don't know. I am enjoying it. But I don't know. There's nothing more than that. I don't have any strong feelings toward it one way or the other. It's just, it's a book. And it's doing its thing, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to finish this. I haven't read it all today yet. Just been doing a bunch of cleaning and other things that you do as an adult. So it is now 4:30 and I'm going to get back to reading. I finished Choke. Some things happened at the end that I was not expecting. There was a little bit of a plot twist, but I really enjoyed the way everything came together and just the way that the end of this book wrapped up. And once again, I can't even really explain why I enjoyed this so much, but I did. I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Like, the story was interesting. It was unhinged. The way things came together at the end. The characters, like, I don't know. It was enjoyable. It was fun, I guess, and yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. Anyway, that is 73 pages down for today, so I've got like 130 left, so I'm gonna figure out what I want to read next and read that and let you guys know where we're at. It's exciting though because now I get to put it next to my other books by that author. Wow, I know it's a spectacular angle right here, but we're gonna squeeze her in there somewhere. I read 61 pages of this, which brings my total for today up to 134 pages, which means I have 66 pages left to read for today. I know, bear with me, numbers. Anyway, I won't talk extensively about this because it's not like a book that I'm going to be reading the full thing in any video. Like, we very slowly go through it. But I just read part 3, which had a lot to do with addictions and mental illness, and it's just is a very, very good book so far. I know not everybody's into nonfiction, but this is one that I would highly, highly recommend to anybody because it's just, there's so many important discussions that take place in here, and especially with mental health and like the way that our society and our culture really views that type of stuff. And just like there was a long discussion about ADHD and how many children are diagnosed with ADHD and medicated for that, even though those medications have proven to like disrupt brain function in adults, and now they're being given to children whose brains are still developing. So it's like nobody knows the long-term effects of those right now. Also, a very interesting discussion on the very, very popular phrase like that depression is a chemical imbalance, even though that may not be entirely true. There was a quote in here. I was trying to film this little update before the air came back on, but I guess I did not go quick enough. Anyways, the quote in here is from, oh god, I don't know how to say this, neuroscientist Jacques. That's probably not correct. Anyways, he says, all problems in living, including death, are accompanied by chemical imbalances. And I just feel like that's really interesting because it really puts it into perspective. Like, you hear that phrase so often, but like, what does it really mean? And like, you know, I've said that at one point in my life, but it's like, do you really actually think about like what that means and whether it's true or not? I don't know. It's just been a very, very good book so far. I would highly, highly recommend, even if you don't read nonfiction. It's just, like I said, I feel like there's so many important topics that are talked about in here. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting about this right now, and I'm gonna read my next book for tonight. I'm going to finally start my NetGalley arc that I got the other day because I feel like I should get to it, and I am excited to read it. I don't know if I said it yet in this video, but that arc is Silent Key by Laurel Hightower, which I don't even know what it's about, but it's like a deep sea horror, so I'm very, very excited. I have read Crossroads before by Laurel Hightower, and I also have Below by her on my TBR. So I'm really, really excited to read this, and I'm so happy to be given an early copy. This is a full-length novel, which I'm not sure if this is her first full-length novel or what, but I know that the books that I've seen talked about by her are novellas. So I don't know, just very exciting. I'm gonna start that, and I probably won't update you guys until the morning again because it is pretty late. So I'm probably just gonna read and then go straight to bed. So we'll talk tomorrow. I'll give you guys my thoughts on that book, and then we can go through what I read each day this week and yeah, just wrap it up a little bit. Okay, it's literally been like 30 seconds since that last clip, but I think I may have been duped. Okay, look at the cover for Silent Key and the little quote that it says on the front, in the depths. It is compared as well to Nick Cutter's The Deep, but reading the synopsis and reading reviews, I don't think this is actually a deep sea horror. So now, I don't know what's going on. I'm lost. So I guess I'll just have to start the book and figure out what's going on. Good morning. It is now the next day. As promised, I am here to update you. I read 67 pages of Silent Key by Laurel Hightower, which brought me to chapter 16 last night, and I am really enjoying the story. I don't know, there's something about it that just makes me want to keep reading. It was kind of hard to stop after that 67 page mark, but I knew I had to go to bed, so I had to stop. So the story is following a woman. She has a young daughter named Samantha, and her husband, Tony, has just recently passed away in kind of a strange way, kind of a horrific way. She also has an uncle that just recently died in a very mysterious way. Nobody seems to really understand how he died. So she has taken her daughter to her father's ranch. I think they're in Texas. So she brought her daughter there just kind of for a change of scenery and to help her daughter kind of get better. I guess she's not doing too well. She's having very disturbing times at night and sleepwalking and having visits from ghosts, maybe talking to her dead father. So this is very clearly like a ghost story, kind of a haunting thing, and it's very interesting because obviously something happened to these two men, possibly more, in the past, and they died in a very similar way but under very mysterious circumstances, and they were both involved in very strange happenings. So now this woman and her daughter may be in danger as they try to figure out what happened and try to solve the mystery and make sure that they stay safe themselves. So basically we just got that little setup, and I'm really excited to keep reading and get more into the mystery and the ghost story and all of that. But that is it for this video. We can go ahead and talk about what I read each day and just what I read this week, but I need to pull up my notes first, so give me a second to do that. Okay, let's talk about what I read and how this challenge went. As you guys know, the whole point of this video was to read 200 pages a day, which I did, and it was kind of interesting because normally I don't keep track of that kind of thing. I just read for however long I want to read, and then I just stop when I feel like stopping. So it was a little bit difficult at times to continue reading, especially when starting a new book. There were a couple of nights this week where I would finish one book and then I still had to read like 30, 40, 50 pages of something else. So then I had to immediately start another book, which I don't often do. A lot of those times I probably would have just finished one book and then put it down and been done for the night, started a new book in the morning. So it was a little bit different for me to go straight into another book. I do that sometimes, but not very often. So I ended up starting and finishing 4 different books. I finished another book that I had started before this week, and then I started another book today. So I feel like that's pretty good for a week of reading. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So on Monday this week, I read 96 pages of The Broken Places and finished that one. And then I started Nothing to See Here and read 107 pages of that for a Monday total of 203 pages. Then on Tuesday, I read 150 pages of Nothing to See Here and finished that. And then I started Girls Like Girls and I read 54 pages of that for a total of 204 pages on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, I read 250 pages of Girls Like Girls and finished that. Then Thursday, I read 200 pages of The Only One Left. Then on Friday, I read 183 pages of The Only One Left and finished it. And I started Choke and read 20 pages of that for a total of 203 pages on Friday. Then Saturday, I read 200 pages of Choke. And then Sunday, I read 73 pages of Choke and ended up finishing it. Then I read 61 pages of The Myth of Normal and 67 pages of Silent Key, which brings us to 201 pages for Sunday. So, total for this week, I read 1,461 pages. So, when I started this challenge, I was still working on book number 7 for August. At the end of this challenge, I am now working on book number 12. So, I definitely accomplished my goal of squeezing in some books before the end of the month. And I think 12 books is a pretty solid number. Well, overall, this was a pretty fun challenge to do, a little bit of a struggle at sometimes just because I wasn't used to having a set number of pages and having to read that every day. It's definitely a good way to knock some books off of your TBR and to accomplish some reading goals, so I am overall glad that I did it. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.